Well, I did some concrete research in regards to the spread of coronavirus. Well, I am going to discuss the origin, the sustenance and the cure of this virus. Although I really do not take pride in doing such a research, because this is a very negative subject in itself. The disease, the illnesses are a very negative subject in themselves, and I do not take pride in them. But for the sake of awareness and for the sake of precaution and for the sake of astrological research, the only purpose here is to make awareness, generate awareness among public and fellow astrologers regarding this COVID-19 virus, known as coronavirus. So this is only the purpose. Hello friends, welcome to my channel Vedic Astrology Guru. Well, today I am going to discuss the present pandemic that has taken place in the year 2020 in the month of March. As of now, it is going presently at a very high rate of spreading across the world. So let me take you down to few of the things. And yes, before we start, if you have any queries, any suggestions for this video or any suggestions regarding my astrological research that I have done, you can email me at vedicastrologyguru7@gmail.com. In fact, this email address and other ways to connect to me are mentioned down below in the section, so you can check those links as well. So getting down to how this is taking place. So first, okay, let me tell you about this virus, that in the year 2019 I did some research in the month of June, and I started publishing that by the end of July and August. So in August I mentioned this very specifically on my Facebook page, that there will be huge turmoil in China in the month of December. Few of the people do mocked me that making such kind of a prediction so many months earlier, many things can go wrong. But I specifically mentioned that. So let me bring you down to what I have mentioned. I specifically mentioned this, that high tensions in China and turmoils in its politics are going to take place. This was mentioned specifically for December, and I did this in the month of, as you can see here, this is the post from my Facebook page, which straight away mentions this post here, and it's clearly, let me zoom it for you. Right, it's here. High tensions in China and turmoil in its politics. And if, let me zoom out the dates for you. If you can see, this was published on 12th of August 2019. I published this almost 5 months prior to this kind of a turmoil that may take place. Although I do not take the credit for forecasting that there will be a virus spread. But yes, by astrological combinations, it was quite evident that something particular is going to take place in China and other parts of countries as well in the month of December. So what is that? What are those combinations that I observed? What is the astrological scenario that took place in the month of December? To understand that, I will want you to think about eclipses. Eclipses from ancient times have been considered of extreme importance in a lot of communities. Either be it solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, they have huge importances. And these phenomena of eclipses has been usually neglected by a lot of astrologers. I started working on the eclipses way back long, and there was a pattern that I discovered in those eclipses which helped this pandemic to spread so much. So what was that cycle of eclipses? On the contrary, eclipses in Vedic astrology, in ancient Indian Jyotish, the importance of eclipses is huge, huge, huge. So let me bring you down to what was the key, what was the trigger point, what was the point of origin and initiation of this kind of a virus spread. But to understand that, we have to get back to the chain of eclipses that happened in last year, and that is still happening as of in this year 2020. So the chain of events of eclipses in 2019 and 20 is very important. So let me bring you down to that. Okay, so these are the eclipses that took place. These are the eclipses that took place in 2019. So if you observe here, the first eclipse, the recent eclipse that I started, that was more important to this pandemic, to the spread of this virus, that was on 2nd of July 2019. The eclipse took place in the zodiac sign Gemini. Then the second eclipse that took place on 16th of July 2019 was in Sagittarius. So these two zodiac signs have huge importance here. The signs zodiac sign Gemini and Sagittarius. So when you must say that a lot of eclipses will happen in a lot of signs. So why these signs are important at all? If you closely observe, the importance of these signs becomes great. It has to be seen closely. Once this starts, the eclipses start to repeat in the same zodiac sign. As you can see, on 26th of December, when this was heard that yes, in the month of December there is a virus spread in China itself. That was this date becomes very crucial. The 26th December 2019, and the eclipse took place in Sagittarius. And then after that again, the eclipse took place in the Gemini sign on 10th of January 2020. And on 5th of June, the eclipse will be in Scorpio. Then again, this chain is being repeated, which is being repeated in the previous cycle of eclipses in the last year. Again, the 21st June 2020 eclipse is going to be in Gemini, and the 5th July 2020 eclipse is going to be in Sagittarius. So the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, the zodiac axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, becomes of great importance here. So what really happened in the month of May, on the 26th of December? To understand that, I will take you down to the horoscope, the Vedic chart of 26th December, the eclipse that happened on this date. But prior to that, to understand the eclipse, what was actually happening in that month, why the trigger in that month, we also have to understand the progression chart of that month, the solar progression chart. So let me bring you down to the solar progression chart, what really happened. Okay, yes. Now this is the sun progression on 16th of December 2019 that took place. So sun transited from Scorpio to Sagittarius sign. As you can see, if you look closely, sun is at 0 degrees. Sun just entered the Sagittarius sign for the Sagittarius. Now again, the Sagittarius sign is involved here, and Jupiter is at 8 degrees. If you look closely, what is the combination here? Jupiter is combust, being the lord of Sagittarius, posited in Sagittarius. So the Sagittarius zodiac sign initially, it kind of suffered a lot during the progression of Sun itself, which makes it very important. The month becomes important. And being in the nakshatra Mula. Now Mula nakshatra represents the symbol of Mula nakshatra, the constellation which we consider in Vedic astrology. The mythology is amazing. The mythology connected to these nakshatras is amazing. So Mula represents roots or a bunch of roots, a bunch of tied roots or roots in general. So I will come down to discussing why this nakshatra is of great importance as well, and the combination of Saturn and Ketu. Saturn representing the air element in Vedic astrology. Saturn is considered as an airy element, and Ketu is a planet which magnifies the effect of anything. And Jupiter, being the largest planet in the solar system, makes any event, even it enhances any event further. So Ketu also represents your viruses. Why? Because Ketu is the shadow of the moon in the infinite solar plane. So the shadow of moon falling on earth is Rahu, and that shadow, when it reaches to infinity in the solar plane of our solar system, it goes beyond, even go beyond our solar system, the shadow created by moon, that is Ketu, which is basically hidden. It shows hidden tendencies, it shows viruses, diseases, illness. So the virus is connected to the air, and of course we will discuss these constellations as well. These constellations are of great importance. The Purva Shada Nakshatra, this also becomes very important. So now I bring you down to the eclipse that took place on 26th of December 2019. If you can see, now this is the Kala Purusha chart that I have taking the Aries as an ascendant. Now this axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, as you can see, this is axis of Gemini and Sagittarius is in opposition to each other. These two signs are in opposition to each other. So all the eclipses that are taking place are in Gemini and Sagittarius from previous year 2019, from July up till it's going to even in the month of July this year as well, in 2020 the eclipses will be taking place in the sign Sagittarius here. So these two signs are of great importance. Now as you can see, in the month of December 2019, on 26th of December, the eclipse took place, and as you can see, for the sign Sagittarius, the planets in the signs were Saturn, Ketu, Moon, Jupiter, Sun, Mercury. So 4 of the planets are in Mool Nakshatra, and 2 planets, the planet Saturn which represents air and the planet Ketu which represents your viruses, in the nakshatra Purva Shada. In fact, Purva Shada nakshatra also represents your water drop. The symbol is water drop. So if you associated the viruses, the virus being spread. Now why the virus is spread worldwide? Okay, let me first bring you down why the virus is spread worldwide. Because the sign here is Sagittarius. Now this is the sign after the sign Scorpio. Now Scorpio is a sign which represents the existence of a person's physical body until his death. So 8th house, the 8th sign, represents the existence of a physical body up till the person is not dead. And post that the journey of that prana, the journey of that spirit or soul beyond the body is to be taken from the 9th house. That is why 9th house is also considered for travels for long distances. So long distance travels are associated with the 9th house, and with Saturn, the airy planet, and Ketu, the planet of bacteria, the planet of viruses in the nakshatra Purvashadha, which represents your water drops. So that is how it is started spreading. And even Saturn also represents the sense of touch. The sensory system associated with Saturn in Vedic astrology is sense of touch, which is by skin, which is to be felt by skin. So the water droplets by Purvashadha nakshatra, the Saturn, the airy thing, because it has this virus traveled by the means of aeronautics. People people traveled through airplanes, and this disease spread from one country to another. And Ketu enhancing, now Ketu is the multiplicity factor of this eclipse that is taking place. So it is multiplying everything, with Jupiter even further supporting the scenario. And Mercury also represents the illnesses, because in Kalpurusha chart your Mercury is the 6th lord, which represents your diseases. So Mercury also got involved here. So a lot of bad planets got involved. Now why the Mool Nakshatra? Let me bring you down to Mool Nakshatra. What is the importance of Mool Nakshatra here? Okay, now Mool Nakshatra. Basically this is a constellation. A constellation in the Western world, here in India, in Vedic astrology, we call it Mool Nakshatra. So Mool Nakshatra, the symbol is roots, and the associated mythological deity is Rudrani and Niriti. So what does the symbol is roots, and it also represents a bunch of tied roots. So your tied roots also represents restrictions, as we already know that people are being advised for quarantines when they are infected. Even elderly people are being advised for quarantines up to 4 months. So a bunch of tied roots, and root is the basic essence of the person. Even in the body, now even in our body, the root to our body is associated with breathing. If we cannot breathe, that is one of a very important branch of our root, branch of our body. I mean, that is a very important part. If you cannot breathe, because this coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, it affects your breathing system. So what does this nakshatra represent? This constellation indicates destruction prior to new creation. So what will be the new creation? As we already know, there is loss of life taking place. So what will be the new creation? New creation will be in the form of new awareness, new rules being emphasized. There will be new aviation rules. There will be new travel rules. There will be new formation of health departments and health. What do we call that? I mean, there will be new systems and checks in regards to health that needs to be done. There will be new developments in medical science for to keep check of spread of this kind of a virus further. So post this scenario, when this, we, God willingly, we would have surpassed this pandemic, there will be great developments in the field of healthcare, medical care, aviation, travel and tourism. There will be new developments. It also represents, now further, it also represents poison, medicines and physicians, which at present we see are of most importance. All the doctors in the world are trying to contain this pandemic. Mool literally means roots or foundation, representing investigative researches. So there are going to be investigative researches in the field of medicine, and also in regards to why this spread happened initially. Okay, Nariti, which is the deity. This deity, Nariti, is also known as Lakshmi. Lakshmi means destruction of wealth and sorrows. So the deity Niriti, which also means Lakshmi, this brings sorrows, destruction of wealth, sadness and things like this. Lakshmi causes lack of food specifically. When there is lack of wealth, there will be definitely lack of food, and as we can see, people are scared that they may not run out of the basic necessities like food, and we can see the empty shelves that are happening across a lot of countries. We see empty shelves in the stores. So that is happening. Restraints and confinements, we already know that people are being advised to stay away from public places and huge gatherings. This constellation represents sudden reversals of fortune. For some people who may have never imagined such kind of a thing, now this pandemic is a devastating event that is taking place. This nakshatra represents herbal medicines and alternative cures and alternative healings, because we already know that there is not a medicine as of now in the month of March for this coronavirus. All what doctors can do is increase your immunity, and that is what is being done. Alternative healings and alternative therapies are being considered as of now. Now this is the impact of Mula Nakshatra. Now can you associate this with the eclipse that was taking place in the 9th house in the Sagittarius sign, and 4 of the planets in Mula Nakshatra. Now I would like to bring your attention to why this coronavirus started spreading from the country China. As you can see, the same eclipse chart from 26th of December, this is the same chart. The same chart representing those planets, the Saturn, Ketu, Moon, Jupiter, Sun and Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius here. So I created the Sarvato Bhadra Chakra. That is a very powerful tool to understand the impact of nakshatras. This concept is amazing. So the Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, the SBC chart was created, and I found out for the 26th December 2019 eclipse, the most important nakshatras, as we know, were the Revati and so the nakshatra impact of Revati and Uttar Bhadrapad was very important. Why? Because if you look closely in the Sarvato Bhadra chart here, this combination of eclipse was taking place in the Mula Nakshatra and Purvashadha Nakshatra, with Saturn and Ketu in Purvashadha, and these planets, the Moon, Jupiter, Sun and Mercury in Mula. The impact for these nakshatras was on Uttar Bhadrapad and Revati Nakshatra, as you can see here. And if you look closely, this also represents your nakshatras associated with the north direction and the northeast direction. And if we look at the continents, on a flat map of the world map, the northeast continent is associated with Japan and China. And considering from north to northeast associated with these nakshatras, the continent that falls in this category for the northeast continents and north continents is mainland China. And even if you look closely, the system of the Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, although I am not too sure, research needs to be done in this regard, for further researches need to be made. The first associated letter with the Revati is C, which is Cha in Hindi. From Cha we call it China. So the letter associated with the Revati Nakshatra also is China. The why Revati Nakshatra is important here, again let me bring you back, because of the Mula Nakshatra. The importance is enhanced very much. So this is the reason, the origin is something I figured out from the Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, that this is the cause that it took place from northern direction, and because of the Saturn being the airy planet and the planet of touch in the nakshatra of Purvashadha associated with Ketu, which represents viruses, this spread across all the world. The Purvashadha Nakshatra also represents water droplets, so this infection is not an airborne disease, it is more of a disease that is transferred by water vapors from one's body, one's breath. So all this is very important. So now we have identified the origin from where it took place and when it started. Now let me bring you down further to the sustenance of this virus, which is of great importance to everyone. Everyone is considered how long this will be going on. A lot of questions have poured into me. A lot of people have been asking me why this took place, and up till now, when will this end? That is the greatest question. A lot of people are asking me, when will this end? So, sustenance of the virus. As we already have seen, the eclipses are going to happen. This year itself, on the 10th of January, the eclipse took place in Gemini. Next eclipse will take place in June, the 5th of June in Scorpio. And Scorpio, as we already know, represents longevity and death after longevity. So, I don't take pride in saying this, but with this eclipse, up till this eclipse, there will be huge catastrophe for the lives of people, and this will be kind of a barrier line. From here the scenario will start to change. But why it is going to take place up till 5th of June, or the most important 21st June 2020 eclipse, which is in Gemini, things will start to change. The scenarios will change. There will be new developments, new things that may show up post this eclipse. But up till this eclipse, things will remain the way they are working. Why? Because if we look closely, in the month of March, most of the planets are in direct motion. But if you look closely, for the retrogression of planets in 2020, Mercury will go into retrograde motion in the month of June, from 18th of June. So Mercury will be retrograde from 18th of June to 12th of July, Venus from 13th of May to 25th of June, Jupiter, a huge planet in our solar system, from 14th of May to 13th of September, and Saturn from 11th of May to 29th of September. So these planets, these four major planets, are going to be retrograde in motion mostly from the month of May. So in the month of March and April, a lot of people may see this as the precautions that are being told and the cautions that are being taken by the countries, various countries and doctors to control this pandemic may seem to be working effectively for the month of March and April. But post-March, in the month of May, when these planets start to retrograde, I believe that this spread of the virus will start to enhance again, or it will not be controlled at all during this retrogression. So this retrogression is of great importance, and don't forget that Jupiter, Saturn and Mercury were involved quite much in they had a huge role play in the spread of this virus since from the eclipse of 26th December. So let me bring you down to the dates of the eclipses again. So from 21st June 2020, Gemini, this is going to be a very important eclipse. So as you can see, the cycle is not breaking here of the eclipses, and because this cycle is not breaking apart, I believe this pandemic will sustain up till the next eclipse, which is going to take place on 30th of November 2020 in zodiac sign Taurus. That is when things will start to change drastically. People won't bother much about this pandemic. That is what I believe. But still, I need to research even further beyond that timeline how things are going to be. But yes, things will start to settle up post 21st June. I believe there will be some sort of alternate medication that may show up, or a very strong system of alternative therapy may be discovered that will help people recover from this disease. But that may happen between the period of 21st of June 2020 and 5 July 2020. So June, the end of June and the month of July, we will see that new developments are taking place. People will start to consider this very seriously post this, and there will be new, even stronger restrictions that will take place from this period. So the horoscope, the chart for 21st June 2020 eclipse becomes also important to understand how this medicine will be discovered, and will there be changes in the or decline in this pandemic. We need to check for this. As I have stated that I believe this is going to continue up till this period of the July. Let me bring you down to the chart of now. This is the eclipse chart for 21st June 2020 that is going to take place. As you can see, I have taken the Kalapurusha chart again. Now what is of importance here is the illness, the disease, that the people who have already been contaminated by this virus, who already are carriers of this virus, they will be represented by the 6th house, the house of illness, and the people who are ill, and the virus itself is to be seen from the 6th house. But the lord of 6th house, which is Mercury, if you look closely, that is in the nakshatra of Punarvasu, and that too in the sign Gemini. Now Punarvasu nakshatra and the mythology associated with this nakshatra is that things which have been happening previously will happen again once more. Punar is to Punar is basically redoing, reoccurrence of something. So since Mercury is the lord of that house and associated with the 3rd house, which represents communication, so communication represented by the 3rd house is also of great importance. This virus will again re-spread by people's communications. And the 3rd house also represents short travels, short journeys within a state, within a city itself. So this will still be under the process of spreading within a city. If it is within a state or a city or a country, it will still spread. And if we look closely onto the planets, other planets which previously have been involved, the planet Jupiter, which is also called Jeev Karka in Jyotish. Now Jeev Karka is the planet which represents human life. This planet also represents ether. So human life, sustenance of life becomes of great importance, and association of this becomes of great importance with Jupiter. As you can see, Saturn and Jupiter both are retrograde. The planet Saturn, as you can see with the big R and the big R with the Jupiter, these are not Jupiter. This is not the R letter of the planet. This is the R representing retrogression of these planets. And these planets are in Nakshatra Uttarashadha, which also represents break in the ongoing scenario. It is this Nakshatra Uttarashadha represents, the constellation Uttarashadha represents basically it represents end of something which is going on and getting on board to another thing. So, but the retrogression also shows that these two planets, as we consider the retrograde planets to be affecting the previous house as well. So these two planets also get connected to the 9th house again, with Ketu in Mool Nakshatra again. So basically now Ketu in Mool Nakshatra in the Rashi of Jupiter, which represents Jeev. This will represent disconnecting with those roots, disconnection from those roots. So this will show severe isolation and this will also show severity of new health rules for people. So people will have to be in isolation they will be advised to stay in isolation so that they may not contaminate others and this virus may not spread further. But up till this eclipse that will take place on 21st of June this year 2020, things are going to be the way they are. And this is the time, because of the Mars in the house of hospitalization and in Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra. The Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra all these nakshatras, the nakshatras of Sun, which is the representative of soul, is in the sign of Mrigashira. So this will again show that there will be a lot of confusion, there will be a lot of complications. People will still, Mrigashira Nakshatra shows entanglement by self-efforts. People will do something, a person may do something which puts him or her in a harm's way. So this nakshatra will again show that up till now things will be the way they are. But coming back to the eclipses, post this eclipse, the eclipse on 30th of November 2020, that will take place in Taurus. Now Taurus is the sign where Moon, the significator, the Karaka, the planet which represents medicine and cure, will get exalted. Although it will be it will get exalted on an axis which will be on the axis of eclipse. It will be forming an eclipse, but it will show that there will be a medicine that will be created, and that medicine could also be a medicine created from virus itself, which could be like a very heavy steroid. If a medicine is created, that medicine is going to be somewhat poisonous in nature, not poison, but definitely it will, consuming that medicine and getting to the cure it will have few side effects. So basically that medicine will be in a form of steroid, or it will have side effects. And if otherwise the medicine is not created, then this will also give origin to alternative healing therapies, alternative systems of healing a person, which will bring relief to this pandemic. So, and yes, these are, I worked out as well for the zodiac signs, the ascendants and the zodiac signs according to Jyotisha, the Vedic astrology. If according to Vedic astrology, your ascendant or moon is in one of these signs, then the coronavirus becomes fatal for you. You need to take a lot of precaution. So the zodiac sign Taurus, the zodiac sign Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn and Aquarius. So people having these ascendants and people having moon signs with these zodiac, associated with these zodiac signs, according to Vedic astrology, they really need to take a lot of precaution that they may not get infected, and that is what I wish. I wish health for all of you, and I wish that this pandemic ends as soon as possible. And I really do not take pride in what I have done here, but this is just like a warning for every one of us, and even me. The curiosity here was to know when this is going to end. So this is what I have researched so far, and if you like my research, what I have done, if you feel that this is good enough, kindly leave down a comment below in this section. That helps me, that helps my motivation to keep creating further videos for you like this. And in case if you want to be a part of my learnings and teachings here, you are most welcome to enroll for one of the modules that I teach. And I do online classes for such kind of things. If you want to, if you are curious enough, you can inquire, you can contact me through mail or through my website, and you can contact me and know the details and the syllabus of what and how I teach. So this will be all, and I believe and I pray for all of you that all of you stay in good health, and people who have been ill by this, affected by this illness, they recover as fast as possible, and there shall be no more catastrophes such like this. Namaste.